Welcome back to Dippy Does It All, the show where we find the extraordinary in the everyday. I'm your host, Dippy, and today's episode is a special one. Life can throw some serious challenges our way, and sometimes it's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. But the truth is, the way we respond to those challenges can shape us into who we are meant to be. My friend Dennis joins me to share some of the obstacles he's faced, and, more importantly, how he found the strength and determination to rise above them. His story is raw, real, and a reminder that even in the ordinary lives, extraordinary resilience can shine through. Small disclaimer, we recorded this in my basement on the little portable microphones. The audio might not be as great as when we're in the studio, but we wanted his daughter around. Enjoy. Learning about Dennis. Let's dive in. We came up with this idea. Dennis helped kind of bring it to fruition, where he thought, bring people on and let them talk about their life. And we can learn from each other and get to know each other and realize that you can live an ordinary life and it can be fun. But we know Dennis hasn't lived an ordinary life. No. So we figured we'd start it off with him.
Yeah, it's been an adventure.
Yeah. So we got Dennis on the podcast today to give us a little insight of who he is, where he's from, what his goals are.
Yeah. Well,
if you have goals. And his daughter...
my daughter Elizabeth is next to me, and she's looking, going, I'm interested to hear some of this, too.
We just took a trip over to Rochester and had burgers.
Yes, we drove an hour and a half for a burger and a couple of beers. Yep,
the wonderful restaurant called Hot Chip. If you've never been, go. They've got great burgers and fries.
Highly recommend it. It's really good. Different type of ordering system. You got to use your phone, and for a guy who's turning 50, that was... Thank God my daughter was there to do it for me. So, yeah. But food was 10 out of 10. Would definitely recommend. It was good.
Yep. And we buzzed back to town and figured, let's do this.
Yep. Let's do a little podcast.
So, why don't we start off? Where were you born?
I was born at Golden Valley Hospital in the cities. And an odd fact is that I was actually born dead.
Whoa.
My umbilical cord was wrapped around my throat, and they gave my dad the choice of who to save, me or his wife. And since obviously he didn't know me yet, he chose his wife. They were able to get me out, and they were able to revive me. And so here I am. And the funniest part of that is the doctor told my parents, because of the lack of oxygen and them bringing me back, that I would be undersized and mentally retarded. They were half right. I am not undersized. Yeah. That is a true fact. I was told that my entire life.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I did not know.
Yep. Yeah. So I was an emergency C-section, and they yanked me out of my mom, and that's...
Jeez.
Yeah. Pretty well.
When did they know there was trouble? Was it right?
From what I understand, she was in labor for a very long time, and when she was trying to push, I was not moving whatsoever, and every time she contracted, the cord constricted even tighter. So, yeah, they pretty much thought I was going to be a goner. They prepared my parents that I would not survive, and they were able to bring me back. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. Yep. Funny thing, though, I did actually, when I was a teenager, when I was wrestling, we ran into the doctor that delivered me.
Really?
I was with my mom at the time, and she goes, you said he was going to be undersized. And, you know, in high school, I was 6'1" and like 280.
Yeah.
And the doctor was like, well, he's not undersized.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny.
I was wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, ooh, missed that one. Then he talked to me for a while. He's like, I was still half right. Yeah.
Do you have any siblings?
I do. I have a total of 3 sisters. I only have one that I'm in contact with, only because my other sister, Kathy, who is from my mom's first marriage, Kathy and Christine, they're from my mom's first marriage. Their dad's name is Jerry. So they're my stepsisters, but they're my sisters, period. Kathy passed away quite a few years ago, but Christine is still alive, and she lives up in Minnetonka with her boys. They're great. I love them to death. And then I have a sister named Lisa that I have never actually met, which is funny because that's from my dad's first marriage. My two sisters know her, but I never actually met her. So that's kind of wild. Yeah.
And if I didn't know my dad, I would think possibly I was her.
Yeah, exactly. I actually said, Lisa, huh? When were you born?
Yeah.
And then I realized you're younger than I am, and I was like, nope.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of wild. Kathy passed. She had sleep apnea and did not follow through with getting a CPAP and started to have a heart attack and then vomited in her sleep and aspirated, and she was on life support for a long time. And
Oh, no.
the family had to make the tough choice to pull the plug. And she hung on for a few days after that. And then she was hanging on. My dad was also ill at the time. He passed away. And then 24 hours and 10 minutes later, my sister passed away. So in a span of basically just over 24 hours, I lost two people. And that was a rough time.
How old were you?
It was the same year that my ex-wife filed for divorce. So that was a great year.
Oh.
So it was a few months after that. It would have been, you guys were like, what, 8?
Yeah, like 5th grade.
5th grade. So it was like, I must have been a little early.
10 years ago?
Yeah, 10 years ago or so.
Jeez.
I try not to remember that detail exactly. I know every year around that time, though, I start to get a little, like, mentally, whether I recognize it's the time or not, I mentally start to get weird. And, like, my kids know it. My wife knows it. Everybody knows, like, it's coming.
Sure.
Because I kind of have a little funk that comes up. And
Yeah.
it's not like I get sad or anything. I just get weird.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, that was a wild year.
That sounds like it.
Yeah. So, fact is, as long as you keep walking forward, you can get through anything. I'll tell you that. So,
Isn't that the truth?
yep.
Okay, so how about your elementary years? Where did you spend those?
That's a whole nother part of the story. So, in the 12 years of school, from starting school to getting out of school, I won't say graduating because I never actually did until I got a GED. I went to 16 different schools in 12 years.
Oh, my.
I started out at Birch Grove Elementary in Brooklyn Park, a suburb just outside of Minneapolis. And then from Birch Grove, I went to a school called Zanewood, then Zanewood to then Zanewood to Garden City, back to Zanewood, to Palmer Lake Elementary, to Lakeship Elementary in Florida, and then a whole lot of schools around Florida. My parents were not really great with paying bills, so we would dip out in the middle of the night and move to another part.
Oh, jeez.
So learn to move real fast, real quietly. So different type of lifestyle.
Are there any kids that you recall making a connection with in a short time? Or were you kind of just in and out?
No, there's when I was really young, before they got weird, before my parents got weird, we lived in a house, and I had a little Native American kid. His name was Caleb. It's actually who my son's named after.
Oh.
He was the first friend that I ever had, and his parents were lovely. His mom was Native, and his dad was white, and they were the sweetest people. And he was just, it's the first friend I remember having, and that's why I named Caleb after him.
Oh,
So
well, that's really cool.
yeah, because I figured Caleb and Elizabeth, my kids, will be my last friends ever, so I wanted him to be named after my first one.
That's really special. Mm-hmm. And you knew this story? That's awesome. That's really awesome.
We used to terrorize the neighborhood on our big wheels together. We both had Dukes of Hazzard big wheels that if you pulled the brake, it made you slide. So we used to just ride like crazy.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yep. It was a good time.
So didn't graduate high school?
Nope. From moving around so much and moving to different states, when I came back to Minnesota, credits didn't transfer. So they said, you're going to be a couple of years later. And I used to play football and I wrestled. And because I wasn't graduating on time, the Minnesota State Football League, State High School Football League, wouldn't let me play football because I was not graduating on time. Because I started in Minnesota, so they could see, like, he's not on track for graduation.
Sure.
So I didn't get to play football, and I kind of just gave up at that point. that and with everything that was going on with my parents being the way that they were, I just was like, whatever. So I partied and hung out and did dumb stuff way more than I studied. And so I ended up dropping out. And within a week of dropping out, I went and took my GED and passed that. So
Awesome.
I took a different route than traditional graduation because I didn't want to wait a couple of extra years. So I just dropped out and then took my GED test and passed and was done.
Then what did you do?
I drove a school bus. And well, before that, I drove a school bus first. And while I was driving school bus, I saw this security company that was around called Spartan Protection, which was this armed guard company that was kind of cool and interesting. I went there and applied, and they hired me. And then they trained me, and I worked as an armed guard in South Minneapolis and Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center area, North Minneapolis, all the rougher areas, and did that for a number of years. I got trained to do bodyguarding. I got to work on several movie sites, guarding stars, Bill Murray, Keanu Reeves, some people like that.
No way.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That is really cool.
Yep, and yeah, getting paid $5.25 an hour to run around South Minneapolis carrying a gun in the ghetto. Not the brightest move I ever made, but it was good. It was fun. I met a lot of good friends that I still have today. They're all still people that I can call if I need to, and they're good people. So,
Didn't you do private security for some strippers too or something?
I worked at a strip club. And I did also drive some of them around for private shows. Yeah, I worked at Dream Girls in Minneapolis. That was pretty fun.
Nice.
Yeah, had a guy one time pee in our lobby, and I went out and dragged him and his friend back and made him clean it up with his own jacket. Because that's just rude. You don't do that. You don't step into a lobby and pee.
What was that one story on your 2 truths and a lie that you said at work? Wasn't that that comedian?
Oh, Sinbad.
Yeah, Sinbad.
Yeah, the comedian Sinbad had came into Dreamgirls one night, and he was there partying. He was in town filming a movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger that
Jingle All the Way.
Jingle All the Way, yeah.
Yeah.
And he came in and he was hanging out and we were talking, and he was super cool, super fun. And he wanted to go to Embers. And he goes, "Can you drive me?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Let's go to Embers," which is like Denny's kind of, if you don't know. It was bar closed, but the strip club stayed open longer than bars because they didn't serve alcohol at that one. And he's like, "If you drive, I'll buy." And my manager wouldn't let me leave. He wouldn't let me go. Otherwise, I'd have been able to go hang out with Sinbad and have breakfast, and God knows how else the rest of the night would have went.
Yeah.
So I also got to meet Cypress Hill because they came in there after a concert. That was pretty cool. They lit that place up.
That is fun.
Yeah. So
I know when we looked at your sheet, it's like, what is this? I picked the afraid of needles because, you know, the trope of people that have a lot of tattoos are scared of needles. Turns out that wasn't the one either.
nope.
But
Yeah. Definitely not afraid of needles. They don't bother me at all. Not for tattoos or anything else. It's like, whatever. But
So private security. Then what'd we do?
I went back and forth with security while I drove different straight trucks. I used to deliver for a liquor company, and I would go drop off booze all over the place. I worked for an organic food company delivering produce. And then eventually, me and some friends got this wild hair up our butt to go to Duluth, where one of our friends, his name is Mike, we called him Apple Pie because he's blonde hair, blue eye, looked like American pie.
Yeah.
So we called him Apple Pie. We went up to Duluth to stay at his parents' place, which is when I found out that he had a younger sister named Sarah, who is my kid's mom, my ex.
Yeah.
And that's where the second half of my life, where I started to not be such a degenerate, came up. Because before that, I was not the best human. I lived pretty rough. And even though I did jobs like security and stuff, I was very willing to bend the law, you should say. So, yeah, it was different. And then having met her started to get me along the lines of getting more normal. And then once I found out I was going to be a dad, that's when everything kind of became fixed and focused. And I decided to start working harder and figuring out life. But before that, I really honestly had no plan to make it past 21. I tried my best to make that not happen. But
Well, I mean, if you were carrying a gun for $5.25 an hour, I can see.
Oh, yeah. And we literally, the guys who worked at Spartan were like hired thugs. We really got sent into the worst. So somebody who maybe bought an apartment building that was overrun by drug dealers or gang members would hire a company like Spartan, and we would go in and literally fight people and throw them out of buildings and do crazy stuff. I have arrested many people, or like citizens arrests, security arrests, whatever. My biggest bust was $60,000 worth of crack cocaine, which I got a commendation from the city of Minneapolis for.
Oh, wow.
The guy was hiding in one of the buildings, and I found him, and he tried to fight and get away, and we cuffed him, and when we patted him down, we pulled out the biggest ball of crack, like all individually bagged up, ready for distribution.
Nuts.
The cops that showed up were like, holy crap. And yeah, my boss, actually, they sent the commendation to the company for me. And yeah, it was kind of cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So lots of good times from then. Some of them I probably shouldn't talk about in open air or on open air, but lots of exciting times. Lots of...
Did you ever get any injuries?
No, I was arresting one guy one time, and I had somebody put a gun to the back of my head. But thankfully, it was right on the corner of Chicago and Franklin Avenue. So he decided not to shoot me there, which is great. But that was a very odd feeling. That's not a feeling I recommend to anybody, because you are absolutely helpless at that point. So that was weird.
Oof.
Yeah.
That is weird.
Yep. Definitely do not recommend that one. But it'll make you go, oh, I should reevaluate some life choices right now. So
you kept driving truck when the kids came?
Or was
there a break?
There was a break. I always drove like straight trucks and stuff when they were younger. And then Elizabeth was actually born in St. Paul. My ex and I lived on Dale and Summit Avenue in an apartment, like a 5-floor walk up. And I found out I was going to be a dad. And then after that, we moved out to Plymouth. And when she was born, we lived there for a while in an apartment, and then we decided to move back up towards Duluth, because other than my sisters, and at that time my mom was still alive, and my dad, but I wasn't super close with my family, and my ex she's very close with their family, and I wanted my kids to be raised around something more normal than my family. So we moved up there and lived up there for a while, and I drove school bus up there for a number of years, and then after that, I tried to find truck driving jobs up there, thinking that I had a Class B license. It would be great to find a straight truck job, but it's Duluth. Everybody's a blue collar. Everybody has a CDL. Mm-hmm. So I ended up getting hired on at a company called Schneider Trucking, which is an over-the-road company where they trained me to drive semi-trucks over the road. So I went out to Green Bay and drove for them, and they put me through school. I was out there for like 2 weeks and got all the training and stuff, and then that's when I started driving over the road, and that's when that career started, my first career. So
you did 35 a lot, right?
Yeah. After a number of years, I ended up working for a company called Stan Cook and Sons, and I used to do a lot of trips from Duluth all the way down to Nuevo Laredo, which is right on the border of Laredo, Texas, and Nuevo Laredo, Mexico. And it would be 35 all the way down. And I would do that a ton of times. And that's the reason I have the I-35 symbol tattooed on my neck, is because I've driven it from the very start to the very end a lot of times.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Where was your favorite place that you visited while you were doing over the road? What'd you say?
Texas. I love Texas. Yeah, if there's any place else in the world I would live, it'd be Texas. It's so massive, and you just feel freer there. I don't know why that is, but you do. You feel like anything is possible. And I think that's why Texans have that ideology and that mentality. There's something about the air and just how big it is.
Yeah.
It feels like you're in a place that's so big you are limitless.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So one thing I like about southern Minnesota is it kind of gives that same feeling of, you look around and yeah, it's cornfields and bean fields, but you can see farther. Mm-hmm. Where up in Duluth, it's trees, forest, trees, hills. You can't see very far. And I think the seeing far off into the distance is what makes, for me at least, feel like I can envision a future more, because I can actually see farther. And I think mentally it helps me do the same thing.
Makes complete sense.
Yeah.
It's hard for me with a perspective because I've basically lived here most of my life.
Yeah.
But you go to some of these big cities and you think, would this be fun to live here? Would this not? So it's funny to hear your most recent adventure of having your mother-in-law come.
Yeah.
She was shocked there's little traffic.
Little traffic. She was blown away. Yeah. For those who might not know, my mother-in-law has recently moved to Minnesota with us from Chicago, where she was born and raised, which is where my wife was born and raised. She is absolutely blown away at the lack of traffic. She sat out on her patio one night and literally counted 22 cars. And she called her friend. She goes, "I've only seen 22 cars drive down this road all day."
Yeah.
She could not believe it. I mean, literally, she lived right in the heart of Chicago. So it is a big culture shock for her.
Yeah,
She's
so
adjusting.
Interesting thing. I do, to jump back to it though, I've been to Texas a couple times and I really enjoy it.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
And the barbecue is so good.
The barbecue, the Tex-Mex, the Mexican food, of it.
Yeah.
Second to none.
Torchy's tacos, come on.
Yep, every place. I mean, you can stop at a tiny truck stop and walk in and there's going to be somebody's abuela making handmade tortillas and tacos, and it's the best. I went to one in Brownsville, Texas one time, and I was like looking at the pre-made tacos that they had, and I was like, and burritos, and I was like, "Oh, what's that one?" And the little old Mexican lady goes, "I know, no." And I go, "What?" She goes, "It's how you say a brain?" And I go, "Oh, so it was some type of taco made out of cow brain."
Yeah.
And she was like, "No, white boy.
Yeah.
No, that's not for you." And thank God she did, because I would have died if I didn't know when I was eating that. Sure, it might have been great. I don't know, but I didn't want to find out. But she was like, "No."
What you say, brain?
Yeah, how you say, "It's brain?"
Yeah.
And points at her head, and I was like, "Can I get one that's not?" And she's like, "This for you." It was carne asada. She knew. Yeah, like, I was like so blessed that day. I was like, "Oh, thank God they just didn't give it to me."
Yeah.
I can't remember what the name was, but it sounded good. I'm like, "Yeah, all right."
No.
Literally, like from The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Literally the same noise. No.
That's so funny.
It was great.
I love that. Okay, we've got the kids. We've got the doing the different jobs.
Yep.
And where else are we going?
Well, from driving truck, I did that for many years, and then, as things happen, people fade apart, and I ended up getting divorced from my ex-wife. And I did that. We got divorced, and then Elizabeth and I were kind of talking, and I wanted to do something other than drive truck, and my ex actually suggested that I become a nurse, and so did my current wife, who at the time was just a friend, said that you should be a nurse. You have a big heart. You care about people. And Elizabeth said the same thing. So I decided to look into that, and I took a job as a PCA in a retirement or a assisted living place, and I got put into the dementia wing of it. And the first 3 nights there, I was like, no, I don't want to do this. And then it got easier and easier, and just started to care for these people. And then it really sealed the deal. This cute little old lady introduced me to her family one day when they came in and said, "This is the big fella who takes care of me. He always makes sure I'm okay." And I was like, all right, I'm in.
The big fella.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, imagine that. You're in a dementia wing, and 6'1" at that time, God, 400 pounds worth of tattooed man is your caregiver. And when she said, "This is the big fellow who takes care of me," I was like, "Oh."
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of hooked, and then I started pushing full bore and got into school, which was weird because I had to teach myself algebra to pass the test because I never took algebra because I moved around so much. So thank God for, oh God, what's the name of that website? I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it's a education class that was actually started by a college professor to help his niece learn math. And he started out as just a YouTube channel, and then now it's a whole full-blown .com that teaches people, and you can go on there. And I cannot remember the name of it right now to save my life because I'm horrible with names. Everybody who knows me knows that. But I was able to watch a lot of videos on there and figure out how to do it, and I was able to pass my entrance exam for the nursing program. But before that, I literally had no idea how to do algebra. I've always been great with English, horrible with math, but got that passed, and then started my gen eds before applying for the core program for nursing. So,
Do you remember what gen ed you took that was the most useless for your degree?
ooh, probably interpersonal communication. Like, we all talk with people all the time. Like, I don't need to know, I don't need it spelled out for me. I think that was the most useless.
I think for me, I had to take sensitivity to disability.
Oh.
And it was towards the end of the semester, and our instructor had a disability, okay? Well, he tripped in the front of the class. The whole place erupted in laughter, and I thought, well, we didn't learn a thing this semester.
That was a lack of sensibility.
I know. I was like, we fail.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, some of those classes they make you do are, I think, just filler because they have to get the credits to meet a level.
Yeah.
Rather than giving things that are actually useful.
It's probably a way to have money.
Yeah.
Get money, you know.
I was really blessed. I didn't go to school in Minnesota for my nursing license. I went through WITC in Wisconsin. And they were very cool about how they did stuff. They made it the most quick, direct route possible with no filler. And like here in Minnesota, apparently if you want to get an LPN, you have to take the LPN program and then do the RN program if you decide to do that. Where there, after your first year of nursing school, they said you've already done what's required for the LPN program. Here, you can go take your LPN license. So that's what I did after my first year is I got my LPN and worked part-time while I finished up my RN and made, more money than I was making before.
Nice.
And was able to do that. And they didn't charge, it wasn't a whole extra degree that you had to pay for. It was, this is in line with where you're going. Why would we do that to you? Yeah. It was really geared towards making you successful, not so much making the school money. So it's kind of cool.
So a lot of people identified in you that you like to care for people.
Yeah.
Where do you think that came from?
Probably my grandma Helen. She was very loving.
Yeah.
I think every one of her grandchildren, which there was a lot of, felt like we were her most important person.
What did she do? Did she work or?
She did. When she was younger, she did multiple different jobs. She worked at JCPenney's one time. She used to do sewing, and she actually had a needle break and hit her in the eye, so she had a fake eye, which...
Did she play tricks on you?
No, she literally never talked about it and thought nobody knew. But we all
sure.
knew. Yeah, like, well, Grandma, you're looking around, but one of them's not. Like, we all kind of pick up on this, but okay, we're not going to say anything. Yeah, so she did that, and then, I mean, as long as I remember, her and my grandfather were retired. My grandpa had worked for a fruit delivery company, so he drove truck as well, and did that his whole life, and then retired, and I would spend a lot of time with them when I was younger.
She your mom's mom or your dad? Okay.
My mom's mom.
I wasn't sure.
My dad's mom I was not as close with. I knew her, but she was, there was Grandma, who was my mom's mom, and then there was Grandma Molnar, who is my dad's mom. So the one who's only called Grandma is the one you're closest to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she was definitely the sweetest woman in the world, and she would overfeed you like crazy. There was no leaving her house hungry.
What was the best thing she made? Do you recall?
In my mind, it was always her goulash. It was the best. I still make it to this day. That with a piece of white bread and some butter, you can't go wrong.
You got the recipe and everything?
Yeah. Oh, I make it.
Awesome.
Every fall and winter, and the kids love it. My son will eat it, like literally by the bucket full. I don't know how to make enough for like two people, so it ends up being a huge amount. Well, when we lived in Duluth during COVID, I would make some. And we'd go to bed, and we'd wake up, and there'd be like half of it left because Caleb in the middle of the night did 17 trips to the fridge, refilling his bowl. And I think that's one of the reasons he's like 6'5" now. Yeah. He just ate so much that he kept growing.
So you worked in Duluth for quite some time.
Yeah, I worked. Once I finished nursing school, I moved back to Duluth because Melissa had gotten a position. She worked for CSL Plasma, and she got offered a position to train managers because she was an assistant manager, and they wanted to start a school to train managers, and they were opening it in Las Vegas. Well, she accepted that just as I graduated nursing school, and our plan was I'll stay in Minnesota because I'm not leaving my kids. They were still in high school. I would move back to Duluth, and she'd be out there, and her company at the time had agreed to fly her back and forth once a month as long as she took this position because they really wanted her for it. And we would do that until my son graduated high school, and then we would move to Vegas fully. Well, the minute she got out there, and here's the kicker, when I graduated high school, it was December of 2019, so a few months later, COVID hit, and she was not allowed to fly back and forth, so we spent an entire year not seeing each other, not living together, and I was in Duluth, and my kids, who were supposed to only come over every other weekend, came over and never left, and we spent all of the next few years together, living just me and my daughter and my son. And it was the best time of my life. I loved it.
Well, and at the burger place you were talking about, that you became the hangout spot.
Yeah. A lot of the kids' friends would come over and hang out because we had lots of room. And it was, I'm not a very big, you got to act a certain way. Just be yourself, live your life. As long as nobody's getting hurt, I don't care.
Yeah.
And so, we had lots of friends over and stuff. And it was always a good time. And during COVID, when the kids didn't have any place to interact and couldn't interact at a lot of places, it was nice. At least they could do it there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's nuts. What a time to graduate.
Yeah, I know. Those poor kids, going through that, it was crazy to watch them do that. And my son, who is very much needs to be engaged or very interested in something, was so annoyed with school. He would literally not do a thing until I'd get a call from my ex and be like, your son's failing this class. And I'm like, how? He's the smartest person I know. And then I would be like, Caleb, why are you failing? He's like, I got to turn in my assignments. And then he would do all of them in the span of 12 hours and turn them in and get an A. It was insane. So annoying.
That is annoying.
Yep.
Are you like that too?
No. Elizabeth's my planner. She works stuff out and does things differently.
Good.
Yeah, and Caleb is just now he's more like that, I think, but when he was younger, he was just like, oh, crap, I gotta do it. Where Elizabeth's always been the caregiver, the watching out for her brother, the watching out for her dad, the watching out for everybody.
I'd be curious how he would be if he wasn't in the service.
I'll be honest.
Would he be as structured?
No.
Probably not. Yeah.
It's honestly probably the best thing that could have happened, because he had originally wanted to be an engineer, and he wanted to go to the U of M, and both Elizabeth and I were like, I can't imagine. He's going to lose his mind.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine him doing that. I think him joining the Air Force is the greatest thing he ever did.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what he was meant for and needed that, and he's doing great in it, so I'm very excited for him.
That's the one thing that I remember about meeting you the most, as you were talking about your kids. And just seeing the love and the pride that you have in your kids, I was like, this dude's cool.
Yeah.
Because when you first showed up, I'm like, who is this dude? You get a burly beard and tats everywhere.
Yeah, I definitely look meaner than I am, I think.
I don't. Well, you definitely are a nice, really nice person.
Yeah, it's always weird to me when people are like, "Oh my God, I was so afraid of you when we first met." I'm like, "Why?" Because I don't see it, but I'm.
Yeah.
No,
so
it's weird, but yeah, my kids are my greatest accomplishment.
I think that it's a really good lesson, though, that we can all take, is we should definitely not be judging people how they look.
People are quick to make judgments based on the way people look.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was in nursing school, they made me cover all of my tattoos with makeup, bandages, whatever. So I have tattoos on my neck, so I'd have to go to clinical with bandages on my neck, looking like I've been mauled by a bear. To the point that we were at New Richmond Hospital, and one of the doctors was walking down the hall, and he goes, "What happened to you?"
Yeah.
And I go, "Oh, nothing. I have tattoos. I got to cover them." And he goes, "Why?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, my instructor said that you guys have a policy, because the school doesn't have a policy, and they said that you have to cover them based on the facility you're at." And he goes, "No, we don't." And he goes, "Take me to your teacher."
Yeah.
And she goes, "Well, you guys have a policy." He goes, "No, we don't." Yeah. And he goes, "If he comes back here with those on his neck again, you guys will not be allowed back." And he takes off his jacket and rolled up his sleeves. He is fully sleeved. He is their new ER doc.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. It was fun.
That's awesome, for sure. I just tell that story because I'm thinking, you show up and people are like, oh gosh, is this guy going to be cool or not?
Yeah.
Cool, dude.
Yeah.
You have more heart than I do. That's for sure.
I care a lot for people, especially when I see them at their weakest, because it's very natural to me to want to protect people. And so that's one thing I like about the ER, is that when they come in, if they need help, I want to help them. And it keeps me motivated to keep doing it.
Well, my perspective is that you grew up having to protect,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just your nature.
Yeah. There was a lot of domestic violence in my house, so I did have to protect both my mom and myself. And it's just something that I guess I've learned to do, and I try very hard to make sure that the people around me are safe.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not a big fan. You can ask like coworkers; nobody's going to get aggressive towards my coworkers because they're my coworkers. They're my people.
Yeah.
And I will quickly become not so nice if need be. So
those skills you learned on the streets.
yeah. They can come in handy in life, but I very much am protector of people around me, and I care a lot about the people around me, and will do anything I can to help anybody. So
For sure. You've moved obviously to this area. What do you find the most enjoyable about being around here?
the people that I've met, yeah, like when you first invited me over for Thanksgiving, I thought you were joking. I didn't know you were actually just genuinely that nice, because I'm not used to that.
Yeah.
And like, I love being friends with you. I love my coworkers. I love getting to know Jackie more.
Yeah.
The doctors that we work with are all fantastic and have made me feel so welcome. And it's so neat to be able to have conversations with them, and you're not feeling like you're being talked down to by them.
Yep.
And it is such a great supportive team that right now I cannot envision doing anything else currently. Even though there are days where it's very stressful and it's very hard to do, I can't imagine anywhere else I'd want to be and other people that I'd want to work with right now. So,
Well, you put roots down.
Yeah.
So we have to assume you're planning on staying.
yep, we have decided to stay in the area. Big reason of that is because Elizabeth had to go and meet herself some good guy who we all like, and I can't. He's got family here, so I don't see him going anywhere, and we don't have a huge family, so it's a little easier for us to be somewhere else. And then Caleb being in the Air Force, who knows where he'll end up next?
Yeah.
So I'll
There's
stay
no telling.
close to her. So
Yeah.
plus, eventually, someday I'll be a grandpa, and I'm not missing out on any of that. So
Well,
yeah.
then what's the dog gonna do? If you're holding a grandkid, what
I
is
know.
what's
Who's he going to dance with?
who's he gonna dance
It's a good thing I got 2 arms and he's not that big.
Yeah.
So I'll have a baby in one arm and the dog in the other.
That is gonna be a really great clip on your Instagram.
Yeah, that's... Yeah.
I wonder what they're gonna call you.
I already have it picked out.
You do?
Yeah. Uki.
Uki.
It's Finnish for grandpa.
Cute.
Yeah. So I want them to call me Uki.
That's awesome.
I think it's different and neat, and if all these other older women get to see it, like, they're gonna call me Gigi. Well, then I'm gonna be called Uki. Damn it, I get a choice too. Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have this podcast you can share with them.
Yeah. Someday grandkids will be like, "You're still weird. You were then, you are now."
You
I'm
didn't.
like,
You didn't think you were gonna live past 21, and you've doubled it.
yeah, almost tripled it. Getting close to tripling it. So, yeah, I did a lot of dumb stuff to try to make that happen, too. Lots of fights and lots of gunplay and, like, really, really stupid stuff. Like, we would go out and I would literally get in a bar fight every single night of the week. It was ugly. It was fun.
What's it like to punch somebody?
Feels kind of good.
Does it? Because
Yeah.
I've never actually punched someone.
Yeah, it hurts more than you think. It hurts your hand. You can see I got a bunch of scars on there, and it makes this cool noise when I close my hand. That's kind of fun, but it's an instant release of tension and aggression.
Sure.
But then, depending on how hard you hit them, you feel very nervous because you're afraid that you hurt them too bad.
Yeah.
The few fights where it's just like exchanges, and then it ends, it's great. But when you drop somebody and you never know really what happened, it kind of bugs you for a while. Yeah.
I've always wondered, because, I watch a lot of movies. Mm-hmm. Like, how badly does it hurt? And what is it like,
Because of the adrenaline you're experiencing, at the moment, it doesn't quite hurt your hand as much. But after, it hurts pretty good. And getting punched doesn't hurt with the adrenaline going, at least not for me, it didn't. I do have a fairly high pain tolerance. But the next day you're like, your jaw's all sore and you're kind of swollen up and yeah. But at the time it wasn't so bad.
Elizabeth's shaking her. Have you punched someone?
She's a mini Molnar. Yeah.
A mini Molnar, that's funny.
Yeah.
She's sitting across the table going, what the heck is going on with this lady?
Oh, Elizabeth has heard all of my stories. She is honestly the closest person in my life. She's my best friend.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm just very curious. I like to learn, so I'm very curious.
Yeah.
I lived kind of a boring life.
I can't lie. The start of my life was very rough, and being raised was different and not normal by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, we were on food stamps. We would have to go to a place called Seep, which was like a donation place to get clothes and stuff. But the one thing that I learned from that is that you can either accept and live like that, or you can work harder for things. And my sister actually worked very hard, worked her way through college, and now she's very successful. And she actually taught me a very valuable lesson one time, in that do a job that pays you well. And remember that your job is there to pay for your life, and you have to do both in order to live it. So I learned from her, because before that I would want to just screw around and go party and do dumb stuff. And then I realized, well, I'm always broke. And when she told me that I have to work in order to do the things that I enjoy, then I put two and two together, and then that's when everything started rolling more effectively for me, and I got out of that cycle.
Well, I was going to bring up that oftentimes when people come from unfortunate circumstances, they just continue those unfortunate circumstances.
Yeah.
And from what I know from you and see in you, it feels as though that cycle's broken.
Yeah.
So would you say it's the hard work that did that, or
it's
resiliency, or whatever word you want to give it?
Definitely hard work, and just knowing there was no way I was going to let my kids know what that felt like.
Yeah.
So.
That's really incredible.
Yeah.
Super incredible.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of sharing and being vulnerable, is to let people know that like what everyone sees is on the surface, and that everyone goes through something.
Yep.
It just looks different for everyone.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things I love about being in the ER, is that we come in contact with so many different people, and that I've been able to share with a few of them who have come in who were having a hard time. Mm-hmm. And I tell them a little bit about myself, and then to see them go, I can make changes, because like we've had some people who come in who are, suicidal or whatever, and they don't see a future. And I was like, dude, I know it's hard, but you can achieve anything. I said, I was a high school dropout truck driver who decided to become a nurse, and here I am now helping you. Mm-hmm. Whatever you want to do in life, if you put forth the effort. And that's the big thing, is it's going to take effort. It's going to be hard. You can do it. Going back to nursing school in my 40s with 2 kids and working pretty much full time. And, I would wake up at 3 a.m. to study until 6 before class, because after class I'd have to go to work, or I would have to drive from Stillwater, where we were living, to go up to Duluth to see my son's band concert, because I wasn't going to miss that. There was no reason why kids should have had to suffer because I chose to live in Stillwater, because my wife got sent there for her job. Well, I'm not going to miss out on my kids' life and make them not see their dad for a concert. I'll do the 2-hour drive there and the 2-hour drive back. And that's the thing, is you have to decide what's worth it and be willing to do any amount of time it takes to do it. You're not going to sleep as much, which thank God I don't need a lot of sleep. You're going to develop a raging caffeine addiction. But if you want something, you can make it happen. You just have to dedicate the time to it. You just have to try as hard as you can. I think most of the time when people don't get what they want in life, or aren't seeing their life progress some way, they're not actually trying. It takes a lot of effort to actually try.
It's really good. Being movie people like we are, my question would be, if you could edit your life and change things, would you, or would you leave it the Snyder cut? Where everything is in it.
I wouldn't change a single thing because I wouldn't be the same dad that I am, and I wouldn't do anything to risk not having them.
Yeah.
My kids. So.
Well, you don't know.
Yeah.
What step could have changed the trajectory?
I would rather relive my life for the good and the bad 1,000,000 times over than ever risk not having my kids.
That's awesome. And it must be why you guys are best friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
We made Elizabeth drive us to the Asian mall.
Yep.
First time she met us.
It wasn't really a make. I asked, and she's like, "Yep, let's go."
Yeah, for sure. Like, who are these people on the backseat of my car?
Oh, she's been around weirder, thanks to me. I mean, this girl was 5 years old learning how to play quarters with my friends. So
that's awesome.
She would sink a quarter and do a shot of apple juice. Yeah. So, but she wanted to play, and well, why not?
I know that your kids are your prized possession and your most proud moments.
Yeah.
But let's just say, besides that, what is something you're most proud of?
I don't know. That's tough. I'm very proud that I was able to achieve my nursing degree. And that aside, I think I feel most proud of knowing that I have helped a lot of people with that. Yeah, I'd say that. Helping people. And knowing that I've utilized something that I worked hard for and now get to use it that way.
Do you have a future goal?
Yeah, I have to get in and get my bachelor's here soon because I only got 2 more years for me.
Oh, you
Otherwise,
can
they're
get
going to be
that
angry.
done.
So I'm going to get that done.
Yeah.
And eventually, I would like to get my master's and maybe teach.
Heck yeah.
I think that'd be fun because you don't see a lot of male nursing instructors out there.
Definitely
as
not.
much. And I know that I learned slightly different than some of the ladies that I went to school with because I was the only guy in the class. And I think it would be fun to kind of help, other future male nurses see it a little differently than just how it's presented.
I think it would be valuable for the females too.
Yeah.
Learning from you.
Yeah. I think it'd be fun. It would be a neat thing. And I really enjoy when students come in, we get the paramedic students and the nursing students or even new hires, like the new grads. I love being an orientee or an orientator and helping them learn a preceptor and teaching them just the way we do things because I'm a little more relaxed than maybe some people would do it. And I think that helps them settle down and not be so nervous.
Yep.
And it's just
I like
fun.
to do that with IV starts. Once I've determined that they know how to be safe with it, I try to be away, not too far, but just where they can't see me because there's nothing worse than when someone puts you on stage.
Staring right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Same. I do the same
And
thing.
I think the patients get nervous.
Yeah.
You got to act like they know what they're doing or they're going to be scared that, oh, why are you letting this person do it when you don't trust them?
Yeah, I agree.
You have to just kind of be cool. Even if inside you're like, I don't know.
Yeah. And then if they do miss, I always go at I'm it happens to the best of us. We're trying to thread a needle we can't see.
Exactly.
And the patients are always like, oh yeah, that's a good point. Because it's going to happen. Everybody misses. I still miss. It happens.
We all do.
Yeah.
All of us.
You show me a person who's got 100% success rate, I'll tell you somebody who's lying.
Yeah. No, they're for sure lying.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, I love the little chat we had, the vulnerability. Appreciate it because, it's hard to show some of our less shiny sides.
Yeah, it's different. I'm always willing to open up to the people closest to me. This was a little different to do it this way, but I'm glad I did. And if it helps a single person realize that, it doesn't matter where you come from, just figure out your goal and be true to yourself and live who you are, no matter what that means.
Because really, we only can owe it to ourselves.
Yeah.
We can't live for other people. We have to live for ourselves.
Yeah, and that's 100% true. You cannot live or do anything for one other group of people. For the longest time, my only goal was to do the best for my kids. Well, now my kids are doing the best for themselves. So now I'm learning again. I have to focus in on myself and do what I want to do. And that includes being near my kids, but it's a whole new thing. You're constantly going to be changing and your goals will change. But the one thing that doesn't is that it's just you at
Yeah.
the end of the day. It's just you. So
That probably is a good caveat. You should care about what's going on with your kids.
yeah, yeah.
But I just mean, like, don't be doing things because you want to make this person
Happy.
Yeah,
No.
you have to do it because you want to do it.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm probably notoriously known for, is that I am 100% unapologetically myself, and I will live my life the way I see fit. And if you don't like it,
Yep.
that's just too bad.
Well, and everybody that knows me, I tried to make a decision for what I thought was best,
Yep.
and it didn't work out. But I would say it worked out in the fact that now I have the life that I should have always had.
Yeah,
Because, you know, if you should be caught up, but I married a man. Probably shouldn't have. And but now here we are.
Yeah.
You know, and I also wouldn't change that, though, because it put me where I was at to meet Jackie.
Yeah.
You know, and it's going to sound hippy dippy, but our lives, we do things and we make decisions, and we can't regret those decisions, because if we have things that we want and our needs are met, we needed to go through all of that to get where we are.
yeah, exactly. Living your life with a bunch of regret is pointless.
You can't,
Because-
because you can't undo it.
Yeah, and anything that you chose to do, you wanted it at that time.
Yep.
You made the decision, which means you wanted it.
Yep.
Was it the best decision? Maybe, maybe not.
Yep.
It doesn't change the fact that at one point you wanted that. So you just accept it for what it was, accept it as part of your story, and move on from it. No
sure.
point in wallowing in regret and
Nope.
feeling bad about something.
Nope.
Zero.
Just like my ex, I don't blame him. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
You know, it just was a mistake that I didn't know myself. You know, I was ignoring myself.
Yeah.
But once you start living for yourself, things can change. And
Yeah.
it changes overnight.
Exactly.
You know?
Well, same with me and my ex. We had a little contentious period for the first maybe 6 months to a year, but after that, we're friends now. She comes down to visit Elizabeth, and we all go out. Her kids know me. They give me hugs, and it's completely fine. There's no point, again, at one point I loved her and she loved me.
Yeah.
Why would I hate somebody that I once loved? That makes no
Yeah.
sense at all.
For sure.
So
It's just not the time anymore.
no, it's
you know?
just not the time. Exactly. We have moved apart, and that's life.
And all it does is hurt your children.
Exactly.
You know, and there's no point of doing that.
Yeah, I'm very proud that both her and I tried very hard to not talk bad about each other to our kids. And now we get along fine and everything's great. And I think that's an important thing, because there's no point in making the kids go through stuff like
For
that.
sure.
So,
Well, and my parents divorced, and thankfully they also took that road. And I think that's really the way that the kids can get through it.
yeah.
You know?
I think that
You
is.
can't talk about the other person or air the dirty laundry.
Yeah.
And, you know, they also don't erase each other.
Yeah.
They'll still tell stories from when I grew up where they were both involved, which is great.
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't erase your history.
No,
you know?
and- yeah, exactly. We do the same thing. And like the fact that, when they come down, we all hang out. It's like,
Yep.
we're going to obviously be at some point together, our lives interweaving, as long as our kids are alive and as long as we're alive. Eventually she'll get married, or Caleb will get married, and we're going to have to go to weddings together, and we're going to have to do things. Why ostracize each other? Why not just make it comfortable and just let it go?
And it's nobody's business.
Yeah.
If other people have a problem with it, that's their problem.
Yep.
You know?
Exactly. So yeah, we've had some good times. We've gotten hammered down here. We've gone out up there. We've had good times since being divorced.
Yeah.
It's fine.
No, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything that you want to touch on that we didn't touch on?
Not that I can think of.
Any message you want your grandkids to be hearing in the future?
Yeah. That Uki loves them.
Yeah.
Work hard. School's the most important thing in the world, and if you mess up, I'll break your arm if you don't do well in school. I threatened my son with that once because he was behind on homework. Would I ever actually hurt my son? No. But a big, scary dad yelling, "I'll break your arm if you don't get your homework done," motivates somebody.
I'm just picturing, so I love Oogie Boogie from Nightmare Before Christmas. I'm just picturing you're going to have like that everywhere in your house.
Well, yeah. It's weird. I think it's spelled Ukie, so Uki.
Oh, Oogie.
Yeah,
I keep
Oogie.
hearing Oogie, and I
Yeah.
was like, this is great.
Yeah, no, Uki.
Because you could pull off an Oogie Boogie,
I
for
could,
sure.
I could definitely pull that off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Leave it to me to ruin the moment.
That's all right. That's funny.
I love it. Well, this is our first go-round at a Lifelines episode. And our mission is to point out that ordinary lives are extraordinary.
Yep.
So, thanks for sharing your story.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
And I think everyone's going to be really pumped at work to know some of these things about you.
Cool. Well,
I know Stu's waiting.
Come on, Stu.
Yeah. Dog needs your help.
That's awesome.
We don't have our soundboard because we decided to record this on the portables down in the basement. But we don't want to be too far from the new whiskeys Dennis has to try.
That's right. Important things.
All right. Everyone take care. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Well, that's going to wrap up this episode of Dippy Does It All. A huge thank you to Dennis for sharing his story with us. I called this type of episode Lifelines because in the middle of life's toughest moments, we all need something to hold on to, whether it's family, friends, faith, or even just the determination to keep going. Dennis's journey reminds us that those lifelines can carry us through. And they often reveal just how extraordinary our ordinary lives can be. Thanks for listening, and remember, keep noticing the lifelines in your own story because they are definitely stronger than you think. Until next time, keep finding the extraordinary in your own everyday.